Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bump Draft and Pray podcast. I am your host, Pedro Barbosa, and with me I have my good friend, Earl Goddard. Good evening,
Hello,
Earl.
mate. Hello, mate. How are you?
I am
You
fine.
good?
Yeah. So this time around we have the Spanish Grand Prix. But first, we just have one small thing to talk about. We had some news actually after the Grand Prix that a reshuffle in the technical director landscape, let's say, where James Keyes, the previous technical director of McLaren, is going to Sauber, join Mr. Andreas Seidel at the Audi project,
Prequel.
let's say. Prequel. Yeah, it's a prequel. So what do you think about that? Do you think it was just a consequence of the restructuring of McLaren, then Andreas Seidel just going, yeah, I like to work with him because he was the one who took him to McLaren, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or do we think it was basically another planned move?
Oh, $1 million question. But I wouldn't be surprised if Seidel's slowly building his crew, as it were. So I could believe that he will start poaching people, and obviously being at McLaren most recently, he'll know who he wants there. But at the same time, Zach's kicking people out and restructuring. So I wouldn't put it past him to go, you're not bigger than the team, and kick someone out. Both are plausible.
Yeah, we have the other Andreas now as the real technical director. It's weird because McLaren is going back to that system of having like different technical directors for each, let's say,
And stuff.
department of the team. So yeah, it's, I don't know. I'm starting to find everything confusing. Let's say that plus some rumors that we had. Do you know the rumors about McLaren?
What are the rumors?
That a certain oval blue logo plus a certain bull in red are going to be in the engine covers for 2026.
McLaren Red Bull.
McLaren Red Bull powertrains. That's the other bit of news that it's coming out. News or rumors? Let's say it's
Rumors,
just rumors.
Well, they've got one of the best packages around at the moment, so it wouldn't be a bad move. But it's new regs, you don't know, do you?
I certainly don't.
Could be a very good move, it could be a very silly move. Oh, where's he gone?
Oh, I'm gone because I have company right now. So this is a first in podcasting world.
So we've got Mini Pedro.
Yeah, we've got Mini Pedro here. All people.
So it's a family show. It's all good.
Yeah, it's a family show. So yeah. So this is. I have 3 guests here, so 3 guests on the show. So it's the first time that we have all of these people here. Not distracting at all. So
No,
yeah.
not at all. Focus. We're talking about McLaren.
Yeah, because they're right there. At my line of sight. Yeah.
Just ignore them.
Yeah, it's easy to ignore. Yeah, it's weird because it was always going to happen something like this. So reshuffle of the grid when we have new regulations that this time it's powertrain regulations coming in, new manufacturers coming in, restructuring at some teams to have to start building their own engines. Um, but it's even more weirder now because you have customer engines, or you have engine suppliers and customers for those engines, but when you have technical regulation changes for the car concept or something like that, it's like we had last year. We don't have an F1 like in MotoGP. We don't have customer chassis, let's say.
Yes, well, see, you could say there's a little bit of Toro Rosso used to be a customer chassis, but not so much anymore.
Yeah, and we used to have actually Sauber used to have in the early 2000s used to have Ferrari cars, previous year's Ferrari cars.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all was part of the landscape before, like we have now with MotoGP. We have, I don't know, 3-4 teams with Ducatis and 2 teams with KTM's and all that stuff.
Yeah. For the non-Portuguese speaker, that was get out. I'm talking. We're doing.
Yeah, get out. I'm
podcast.
recording. It's not the best time. It would be better
It's-
during a race, let's say. At least I would have an excuse to be slow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see with the regs, but then it has always been the nature of the sport that one team has a dominant period and then someone else catches up or takes over. Granted, it's never been as big as Mercedes. I think not even Ferrari in the Schumacher era went like 7 straight championships, 6 straight championships. Well, they went 7 because they had Rosberg won it the one year, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I don't think even Ferrari, but there's always been that thing.
And 8 construction championships, because the year that Verstappen won, actually Mercedes took the constructors championship.
Yeah. So we're used to having 2, 3, maybe 4 years of dominance, and then another team takes over. But the way the regs are sitting at the moment, it seems to be Mercedes hit the ground right and just disappeared off, and Red Bull have hit the ground right. So there's the potential 2006 that the next coming will be, and it just depends who will it be, Mercedes again, Ferrari, or well, I suppose you've got to add Aston into it now, based off this first half of the year, or first few months.
Yeah,
because they've got the finances. That's the biggest thing about this car. I know there's a cost cap, but we know they all spend a lot of money elsewhere. And when you see the amount of building work that's going on over at Silverstone, it's phenomenal. So they're getting it spent. And that generally translates into points.
and championships. Not always.
Well,
If
Ferrari.
yeah, that was what I was going to say next. But yeah, Aston definitely will have a part to play future, I think, because they are ready having part to play at the front now, and they will have not their own engines. It's going to be Honda, but they are going to be the main team of Honda. And we don't even know if Honda is going to supply any other team. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be even more interesting 2026 than it was last year, because the chassis regulations are going to be solidified then, and then we'll have this reshuffle of engine performance now. So we'll have the other side of the reshuffle.
And we'll also have let's be honest, they are a very big team in Audi coming into the sport, and a team that knows how to win in every aspect of motorsport it takes part in. So they won't be coming in lightly.
Oh no, definitely they will come to win.
So that's gonna make it even more interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited for 2026, and it's 2023 right now. 3 years, we're 3 years from then.
3 years of boring Verstappen.
Let's see, because for the first time in this European stretch of the championship, we actually have had confirmation or some sort of starting to get a picture of what the European, let's say, European upgrades were, because we didn't have Imola because of the floods, which is weird, because I think we're starting to get a little bit anxious, because where is the Canadian Grand Prix? There's been some fires, some very huge fires, so people are starting to get a little bit nervous if what's going to happen. So tragedy seems to follow F1 right now.
Yeah. Well, the world's a weird place at the moment.
Oh, definitely very weird place at the moment. Then we had the Imola Grand Prix was cancelled. Then we had Monaco. Monaco was never going to. We're never going to see anything there. And then we come to the Spanish Grand Prix, a track that everyone knows. I know the last corner was different, but we've been there. At that corner,
Yeah,
it's not like we
it's
never
not
used
new.
it.
Yeah, they know it.
Yeah. So yeah, we came into the weekend. Let's before talking about that, what do you think about the basically bypassing the chain?
Yeah, better. Simple as that. Better. Having driven it, it's not the nicest. Well, having driven the old one was. It was that difference between if you've got a car hooked up, it was easy. On old tires and not handling car, it was a corner. You knew you were driving it. So, and I think these cars are too cumbersome for a chicane of that nature. 1990. I think they just, if it's slightly open, then they can sort of straight line. Like if you go, I don't know if Hungary's the same. The chicane there at the back.
Yeah.
After that, it's just like the cars aren't doing anything. It's just like, gotta go. Whereas if it's a slightly opened up chicane where they can start going through it, across it, and a bit of driver skill comes involved, because 1990 you can't do anything because you break your car. So.
And they put those huge sausage curves there.
Yeah.
That you really don't want. Because if you go over them even a little bit, the car jumps, you risk damaging your car, and it's very slow if you overdo it. So
and let's not forget ground effects cars. So the last thing you want to do is smash in the floor, bouncing over curbs at chicanes. So no one's going to attack them properly. So it becomes like we used to see with Spain, is just a procession for the last third of a lap, because you can't do anything. Single lap, single line sort of racing line.
Yeah.
So I think it added up, and with the new aero being ground effect, they were able to follow relatively close. So the DRS was powerful, but not. I didn't think it was too powerful that they were just driving past people. It was a lot of the moves were coming in the braking zone as opposed to drive past, thank you very much, mirror signal maneuver, and then brake.
Really thought it was bang on. The power. It was not too powerful. It was not. It was powerful enough to make a difference, but it was not too powerful. Let's
Yeah,
say.
it got you into the right zone to be able to challenge under braking, which is what we really want from it. And in that aspect of the racing was good, I think, throughout the weekend, because there's quite a lot of moves there, and there's a few sends from a bit back, and it was like, oh.
And there was a few defenses on the outside, T1 as well. So people got on the inside, and the guy on the outside just muscled his way through that right left. It's not really a chicane; it's more like two corners, but two very close corners.
Yeah.
So,
No, so I think that aspect of it was good.
Yeah, much better than previous. I never liked that chicane, so that was a big thumbs up for me. So yeah, we went to. So the last thing about that corner was, I don't know if you heard Verstappen's post qualifying interview, that he was saying that he thought about trying last corner flat.
Yeah.
If he needed it, he would have sent it and risked it. But he's saying that next year is going to be flat for everyone. Definitely.
Yeah, well, it was their first time back, and they'll have a bit more data on the cars. So
Yeah. So we went into the weekend trying to see how the pecking order was. We kind of had some surprises during qualifying. We had Mr. Charles Leclerc being out in Q1, which was
yeah, he was complaining about something on the back end of the cars just wasn't right, and no one can seem they've not been able to fight. Or they haven't told us they found anything, but then even in the race, he was nowhere really.
No, he didn't even get any points the race. So he was, even with the penalty of
And he had more softs than anyone because he was out in quali, and then they put him on hard tyres to start there.
and then hards again, and
despair with Ferrari.
Yeah, I just told you this. I think it was after qualifying. It was not even after race. That, I don't know. Leclerc seems to have gone somewhere else already in his head. It doesn't seem focused on the job.
Yeah, it's just, I say, maybe they do find something with the car and he's got a better car for the next race, but I don't. Yeah, something's not right there.
Yeah, something is not gelling. So we had Leclerc out on qualifying on Q1, and then on Q2 we actually had Sergio Perez out as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I didn't expect Paris to drop the ball this massive during so let's say so early season.
Yeah, I think his head's gone.
I even, another thing that I commented with you that was very telling, the reaction that Adrian Newey had when Sergio went off into T4, T5. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
the left-hander.
Yeah, the left-hander just
before he
before.
dropped downhill.
Yeah, he dropped on him.
Yeah, yeah, he just yeah. I think if he was doing what he's doing and being a good number 2, they wouldn't be worrying about him. But they need him to. I mean, yes, they more than likely will win the constructors just with Max alone. But they, let's be honest, they want Sergio finishing second, wrap up the constructors long before the season finishes. Woohoo, look at us, we're the best, and then have Max do it. That's the ego side wants to get it done, and he's not helping. He's not helping the team aspect by being that far down. And if you look back in history, Gasly struggled and was down the grid. See you later. And Albon was struggling and not holding the pressure and not putting it in. See you later. So I think I'm torn because there's part of me that thinks he won't be there at the end of the season. I really don't think he'll be there next year.
Oh no, I don't think it will be here.
But it's whether they decide to give someone else a shot, like a couple of races at the end of this year, one of their youngers, someone, and get rid of him before the season finishes. That's about, I can't decide.
Yeah, because the thing is, this year they know they are dominant. They have the dominant car, and like you said, they could basically easily win the Constructors Championship with Max alone and just a few more points. So even if Checo comes in 5th in the championship, they will probably win Constructors Championship as well. But they don't really know for sure that they will be this dominant next year. So they will need a driver in that second car that racks on the points so that they can win the construction. They are sure they have a shot of winning the Constructors Championship. Because that's what they want now. This is not 2021 where they just wanted Max. Not the same game. Like this.
No, they're into Mercedes territory now, where you need to win both, and you need to win them as quickly and as dominantly as possible. Done.
Yeah, because they have until 2026 for the next regulation change, and they really want to win everything that they can till then. At least until then, because then we don't know because of the reshuffling regulations. Yeah, I don't see Perez there unless he completely changes to the end of the year, which I don't see because
No.
historically it's the other way around. He goes off the last part of the season, so yeah, I don't think he will be there next year as well. The question is, he will survive 2023. They might just say, hell with it. It's just $10 million. They don't really get. They could easily get a young gun that they don't even have to pay all that much.
Oh, they've got Lawson. They've got Lawson there, and they won't pay him. They'll just you get to drive the car.
Yeah.
And every single manager will go perfect, yeah, and then we get a contract, and that's when you earn some money. But just get in the car and drive it.
Yeah.
Expenses paid, that'll do.
Definitely. So, beginning feels like the beginning of Paris, but we're still in qualifying. We haven't even started talking about race. So yeah, then into the other driver that didn't have a very good qualifying, and there was a moment in qualifying too, was Russell. He got out in Q2 as well, and he had his last attempt, basically screwed by the incident with Lewis.
Yeah.
I might not have a very popular opinion here. I don't know. How did you see the incident?
Oh, I thought George moved over on him and blocked him to a degree. Or it looks like George didn't see he was coming. But I can't believe the radio they didn't say Lewis is behind you or fast car behind you. But he was also on his last attempt at a quali run. So if he had pulled over to let Lewis by, that would have messed his lap up. So he's not going to do that. I don't think he intentionally drove into him. I think there was, let's say, miscommunication somewhere. I think Lewis thought he was just going to move out the way and get a tow and move out the way, and George didn't know he was there.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Lewis had just finished flying lap.
No, I think they both started him, hadn't they?
They both started?
I think they were just started a flying lap.
I don't know.
George definitely. I know George definitely.
George was starting, and George was moving a little bit to the right to get a bit of a tow of the car in front.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure he didn't even know that Lewis is there. So he moves for the left side. I think two things could have happened. One, I wasn't under the impression that Lewis was finishing a fast lap. If he was, I don't know what the hell he was doing there. If he was starting one as well, how do Mercedes allow the cars to go so close to start the last attempt? Doesn't make any sense. And if they were both starting, I don't think that Russell was looking in his mirrors for his teammate to come.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense for his teammate to be behind him. That if he knew that Lewis was behind him, it doesn't make any sense for his teammate to be trying to take him on the side.
They did a bit of a Ferrari.
Yeah, either it was a miscommunication and grew up by Mercedes, or I don't know. If Lewis was finishing his flying lap, I don't know what the hell he was doing, trying to overtake George. His cooldown lap.
Agreed.
Yeah, I hope that we have a clarification, but I don't really see them by what happened.
No.
So then we had Q3, and we had Max easily miles in front of everyone else. Got 5/10, half a second. Huge difference. It's not like other races with qualifying sessions where he was very close. No, this time nowhere near.
Oh yeah, he was flying. He's just a whole different. He was in a different race this weekend, or different class. He should have been like there was Formula 1 and then Formula 1.2, and that's what everyone else was in.
Yeah, definitely. Then we had actually Carlos Sainz, so Ferrari got both ends of the spectrum in terms of qualifying. So Sainz was second, and Charles was second to last. So.
Yeah, I think Carlos is driving very well at the minute, and he's managing to make the Ferrari situation work. Whether it's how he's approaching it, or his attitude, or how he's dealing with the team, he's making something work there. And the one thing I did notice, was it Monaco, where they had the head of Ferrari was there, and they kept showing him on TV. It's like, oh, the head of Ferrari's here, the CEO, and there was the one person that was always stood next to him during Monaco was Sainz's manager. Every single shot they showed of him on the TV, he was stood there talking to Sainz's manager.
Yeah, we've heard some
Yeah.
rumors about possible moves in the Ferrari camp. So that might be why.
And I think there's Charles and Ferrari are too similar and too emotional. And I think it was great to start with, and now it's clashing because they're two the same. Whereas Sainz is running it with a little bit less emotion and a bit more planned. I'm trying to think of the right way to say it.
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying. We have talked about that previously, where we both think that he's going the right way about it and dealing
Yeah.
with that team right way.
Specifically, yeah.
Yeah. So
And no, yeah,
you could if you have
No,
something else to say.
nothing. No.
So yeah, Carlos with a very good qualifying at home, and at home because it's his country. He's not a from Barcelona, but he is a Spanish, one of two Spanish drivers. But we'll talk about the other one in a bit. And his qualifying, which was a not as successful, let's say. So in P3 was the surprise of qualifying, or the biggest surprise of qualifying. Mr.
Legend.
Lando, the legend that is Mr. Lando Norris, put it on P3. Very close to Carlos Sainz, actually.
Yeah, he had some pace, and I think Oscar wasn't too far behind, so it wasn't just pure Lando pace. I think the McLarens had. He just managed to extract that last bit out of it.
Yeah, it was almost 1 second in qualifying, but yeah, I do get what you mean because in the race, I do think that they were more sort of they were closer, let's say. Lando was always like 2-3 tenths faster than Piastri, but I don't know what happened to Piastri in the last qualifying because he was even slower than he was in Q2, so something must have happened there. He got the same time that he got in Q2, he would actually be way high, be just in front of Ocon, and only 2 tenths from Norris, 2-3 tenths from. So yeah, something happened to his qualifying there. So yeah, McLaren seemed to, at least in qualifying this weekend, they seem to have a bit of pace. So it does seem that small, and apparently it's a very small upgrade that they had to in Baku, because it's the same one from Baku. They didn't do any more upgrades, and it was just a floor edge upgrade. So it's not the completely new car that we were promised in the beginning of the year. So yeah, let's say if there's something still coming this year, or
they're obviously figuring it out still and making it work. So good.
Yeah, good. So yeah, we had both McLarens, both Alpines, both Astons. And talking about the Aston Martin was the first time that Lance Stroll outqualified Alonso. And we do think that is mainly because Alonso went out in Q2 and damaged his core. They were taping his car just before, not just before, during Q3, because he only had one shot at his qualifying. So he damaged his floor, and then he basically qualified P9. He had no car.
No.
Um, so yeah, that was our qualifying. So Verstappen starting in front, then Sainz, Norris, Gasly, Hamilton, Stroll, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Alonso, Piastri, then the rest of them. um, so yeah, when we went into the race, we didn't really know there was some promise of rain that never came.
Yeah.
No, it was one of those. I don't know if you noticed, but Russell was saying that
Yeah.
he got rain, that some drops on his visor, and apparently it was his sweat.
Yeah. You
Which
didn't think he sweat that much.
was hilarious. Sweat from his hair got I don't know how do you spray sweat from the helmet within the helmet. Uh, but yeah, Sapan just went away. So let's just say it. He got the win and never got what it's called Grand Slam, which is
Yeah.
pole, led every lap, and fastest lap.
Fastest lap. Yeah, to be fair, Sainz gave him a bit of competition into T1, but as soon as they came out of the long right hander, Verstappen was gone, and he just. I mean, let's be honest. We've got to get used to it this year because that's what he's doing. He's got the confidence and he's got the car, so he just puts in solid first 2 laps, and there's no one around him. He's checked out, and then he's also now matured enough that he doesn't try and go 10 tenths every lap. He just sits there at 8 tenths, 9 tenths, keeps the gap, so and just manages, and there we go. Off he goes.
And then the last thing that he does is he completely goes against his team and does fastest lap anyway.
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, Verstappen was off basically. But talking about turn one, we had a little bit of an incident in T1. The one that ruined Lando Norris' race because he came together with Lewis. So how did you see that?
Excuse me. It was. It's a difficult one. He's attacked the outside of Lewis into T1. He's kept it. He's on track and everything's good. But if I remember correctly, Sainz has a slight check-up, whether braking for whatever reason or step out. And because of that, Lewis pulls left, not really anticipating that Lando's still there. He should have known he was there or thereabouts, but yeah, and broke his front wing. I don't know. I'm sort of catch-22 in that. I think Lewis can't move the way he did in the pack at the start of a race because he literally pulled from the middle of the track, didn't he? But then Lando, at the same time, he's gone round the outside and he's hung it out on the outside, and it's a risky. He's put himself in a risky place, which I think, he obviously felt like they had a quick car, and he was confident. There's part of me that says, I don't know whether he should have been racing Lewis that hard for P3. Let him through, get on the back of him, and DRS past him. If you're confident in your car.
Yeah, the thing is, I am that I'm biggest Lando Norris fan, but
I'm a big fan too, but I just think he might have got a bit too, I would say, excited, for want of a better phrase. I think he just got a bit too like, oh, yeah, I can do it. And it's like, whoa, just steady up and
wait a little bit. Yeah.
It's the old adage: you can't win a race in the first corner, but you can lose it, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and the other thing is that under the new, let's say, new rules of engagement, it does seem that if you're the new rules, if you are, I don't know how they voice it, how they wrote it in the rules, but if you are more than a certain percentage of the car ahead, you have the right to the corner. And
Mm.
Lewis was he was even past a little bit past car ahead of Norris, let's say, but Norris had a better line into the left-hander, so T2 basically.
Mm.
So I do think that he was a bit too eager. But
Yeah.
he suffered from it basically.
Well, yeah, that was a game over and no coming back from that, really.
Oh no, definitely no coming back from that one. He pitted that lap and then pitted 10 times again, like in the first races of the season for McLaren. So yeah, it didn't end up last, which was incredible,
Surprising.
very surprising. He had good pace here and there. He was like on the cusp of going to the points, but he was let's say one pit stop behind everyone. Did it one more time than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was never going to get on the points after that. Um, but talking about Lewis, let's talk about Mercedes. Mercedes had a very good race. That car seems to be working.
Yeah, it's definitely improved. They're new like mid pods, whatever they're calling them. They're obviously working. I know initially Lewis was moaning about it in Friday practice, saying it's not what he expected and it's not as good as it should be. But they found something because they had a solid race, P2 and 3, and George particularly did a lot of overtaking and moved up quite a bit. So I think they'll be buoyant from that and go take the positives. They're still they're a fucking truckload of seconds behind the Red Bull, so they can take the race to Ferrari.
I would voice it a little bit different. Uh, they are very far away from Red Bull in Max's hands because Perez had better tires than Russell in the end of the race, and he wasn't able to get.
No.
So that was the most promising part that I saw. I mean, I will not hide the fact that I think that both Lewis and George are much better, or a different breed of drivers than Sergio. But
Mhm.
it's it's a very good sign anyway that they were able not only to finish ahead of Paris, but that last part of the race being able to go to not be caught by Sergio.
Yeah, but like we said, Sergio's had another mare of a weekend, hasn't he? He's not had the pace at any point, so
Yeah, before it was he got up there, but yeah, let's face it, it was not from P11 to P4 with such a car advantage. It's not.
yeah. When you look at what your teammates doing, how many seconds did he finish behind?
Oh, 35
Just
seconds
having,
behind. 30,
yeah,
almost 36, and Verstappen basically
yeah,
coasted the entire race.
exactly. So sort of says it all, doesn't it?
He was so fast during that race, so his stints were so faster than everyone else that he looked slow. If that makes sense, because we were seeing Perez doing fastest lap of the race, and it was 1 second faster than what Verstappen was doing, but Verstappen was doing that lap time every lap with
Mm.
any tire tag, any fuel mount, everything. So yeah, it was one of those impressive. I mean, I think he could have put a set of softs in the beginning of the race and manage them the entire race and still finish P1 weekend.
Yeah, he's just on it.
Another level. So behind Perez, then we had Sainz. Sainz race. I, I I do think it was a bit of a uh yeah, Ferrari were not on it strategy wise again this weekend, let's say.
Surprise.
And yeah, Sainz even asked them why we are pitting, why we are putting these tires. Leclerc again said the same thing and asked for softs, and they put him on hard on
That is
pit stop.
funny.
Oh, I laughed my ass off.
Okay, confirm. Box. Yes, confirm. We're putting on hard. Oh,
Right when it was stopping, it was
yeah.
yeah. We're going to put you on hard. Oh no, I think we should put softs. Okay. Softs.
And he
Yes,
had more sets of softs than anyone because he was out of qualifying. So yeah,
yeah,
just they
just
don't.
mess. Uh, so yeah, Sainz didn't have P5, didn't have that good of a race. Was going back. I do think we do seem, apart from the Red Bull, we do seem to have a bit of a uh within this set of regulations and these tires, the cars that do very good qualifying seem to then struggle a little bit in the race, just probably because of tire drag. It does seem to be a bit more pronounced than the last set of regulations, and I do think that Ferrari is suffering from that. And it's not surprising that I think that the two cars that suffer from that mainly are the Ferrari and the Haas. Haas is completely, I mean, they go to Q3 and then finish nowhere
Yeah.
from the points. So yeah, they do suffer from that, and they suffered again. Then we have both Astons, with Stroll finishing in front of Alonso, and Alonso just saying, "Don't tell Stroll to don't worry about me. I'm just building a gap behind." I was hoping that he tried to overtake Lance, but yeah, he played the
Yeah,
politically correct card.
he knows what he's doing.
Oh, definitely. He could have passed Lance. Do we think that because Alonso's, I mean, Aston's strategy was actually good, because I actually thought that the strategy was horrible, but then it came them, because I
Mm.
thought that Alonso was not even going to get points, and they finished P6 and P7. It's not the end of the world, let's say.
No, any other week they'd be very happy with that. Obviously, after the start of the season they're having now, they've lifted their expectations a bit. But no, a a good bad weekend, if that makes sense for them.
Yeah, very good bad weekend. um, I actually don't know if Alonso had the same specification of floor that he had at the beginning of the weekend, because he seemed to be on pace, at least with Ferrari. Um,
Yeah,
Qualifying.
maybe they only had the one, and he damaged it in that quali incident and paid the price.
And paid the price for that, so that might have happened. Um, and that might explain why he wasn't able to go as forward as he hoped for in the race. Because I do think that if he has if he had a older specification of floor, that car, I do think that with the proper floor, he would at least be in front of Sainz, because
Yeah,
he seemed to gel with the track, and we know that Aston is good on tires, so he may have had the pace advantage in the entire race or
Yeah,
to Sainz. Sorry,
he
there
definitely
was
had
no way.
over Leclerc.
Leclerc, everyone had pace advantage. So just behind both Astons, we had Ocon and then Guan Yu Zhou in P9 and Gasly in P10. Not a strong finish for Alpine because they
Mm.
seem to be nowhere at like 3 races ago. They seem to be nowhere around the points, and now they seem to finish with both cars on the points on a consistent basis.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, good. Like you say, solid, consistent weekend for them.
Although Gasly only got P10, only got points because Mr. Yuki Tsunoda did a little bit of a cheeky move. He won? Was it? Yeah, and collided with Zoe and forced Zoa actually off the track. So he lost. He had a penalty, which was until that point was being a very good weekend on Yuki. That's a mouthful.
Say it fast 10 times.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of. I'm going to say something. Let's see if how much you'll laugh at what I'm about to say. Yuki has been the driver of the season for me so far. Seemed to be maturing very much and having very good drives.
Definitely most improved driver, yes.
And way in front of the Breeze, which the Breeze is having a hard time, but he's a very good driver. We know that.
Yeah, I think he's on the way out, as we discussed previously. And yeah, I think everyone expected a lot more of him, and he's just not delivering. But Yuki has fully stepped up, and I don't think anyone thought he was the mentality of being a team leader, essentially. I think he needs to have someone there to look after him, but no, he's been stonking. Really good.
And even his interviews have been very good and very team leadery. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
he's I don't know whoever's sat down and had a chat with him over winter, whether it be a friend, a family, his trainer, or whoever it is. Someone's flicked a switch in his head and sort of, I'm sure it's along the lines of, you've got to do this now and you have to do it properly, or you'll be out and that will be your chance over. So just do 1 year of it how we want it, not how you want, and see how it pays off.
Yeah, and it seems to be paying off.
I don't know if it's enough to get him in that Red Bull to get Perez out, but I think he will.
You know what?
Because
I'm so impressed with him that I would actually love to see.
I'd love to see him in the car, but I don't think even the newfound Yuki, I don't think would survive the Red Bull Shark Tank.
I think that few drivers on the grid right now would. And from the younger guys, I do think that only like Russell, Lando, Charles. I don't see
Yeah, there's
anyone else to be able to go there and gel with that environment. Because you do have to be that top tier of drivers.
it's. I mean, from outside looking in, it's just a toxic environment all around. I think with the attitude towards the rest of the grid is so toxic. Whereas, yes, there's rivalry, but you're all playing the same game. And Red Bull seem to distance themselves from the rest of the pit lane, which is the feeling I get.
Yeah, I do agree, but I don't really see them going from one of those drivers because Max has told press, I think that he will not be there forever, but he might be there at least till the new regs. Maybe try 1 year of the new regs.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does a load of winning and then goes, do you know what? I'm bored, see ya. And just leaves.
I think the question is, because he has said that he wanted to do Le Mans with father, yes, this one time. Maybe not to win, so I don't know, because to win you have to be in one of the top cars, and I don't know if Red Bull would allow him to drive for Toyota, Ferrari, or whoever is going to be on top when finally does it. So he might do like LMP2 goes and then when he retires from if he does it before retiring from Formula
I didn't think he'd do it before. I think he will just walk away. I think he'll go, I've won 4 champions. I don't think he's not keen on doing the whole, right, Lewis has got 7, I've got to get 8. I think
no.
he's got another, 2-time world champion already. He's got another 3 years before the regs change. He could win 5 championships, and I think the PR side of it, much like when Kimi first left, I think just the other side of F1, the political side, the media side, and he'll just go, nah, I'm done, see it.
Yeah.
And I think when he does go away, the only time you're going to see him driving is on iRacing. I think he will leave, and he might go and do Le Mans with his dad for some fun and that, and he guarantee you he'll be driving with Fritz van Eerd in the Lotto the Jumbo car, if he's not in jail still. But in like a Team Netherlands.
He has his team right now. Team Verstappen is a thing. Yeah, they have apart from they basically taking the Team Redline. Now it's part of the Verstappen.com. Then they have Rally with his father, Jos, in the Belgian Rally Championship.
Yep.
And then they have a car in DTM, right? I think with Ferrari.
I don't know how much racing we'll see him doing.
Yeah.
When he walks away, I think he's got all that hallmarks of, I've wanted to be F1 World Champion, I've gone in, I've smashed it, see you later, and leave.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what he does. He is different in that sense. Yeah, I do see him doing that. I don't know if he will or if he will do something else. He has talked about Le Mans. Has talked about not do Indy. So the Triple Crown is out of the question. So yeah, let's see.
I'd be more surprised. I'd be more expected to see him turn up at Bathurst or something like that.
Oh,
that's
definitely.
what I could see him. I'll see him turn up at like that as opposed to Indy.
Oh, you just gave me the best idea ever. Bathurst Max with Danny Rick going for the Bathurst win.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Yeah, let's make it happen.
Okay, right.
Let's start the petition. Let's go.
You get on to Max. I'll get on to Danny Rick. Forget Indy cars.
Yeah, forget Indy cars. Bathurst with Max, Danny Rick. That would be awesome. So yeah, with this win, Max is on 170 points and Perez 117. And then Alonso with 99, then Hamilton with 87, then Russell 65, and then the 2 Ferraris and Stroll. So yeah, it does seem championship over.
It's not over yet, yeah. But besides mechanical failures, I think it's you're not going to get good odds.
Definitely. Definitely. Not very good at. So yeah, that was it. Nice to see that the new layout worked. So I'm going to give a prize for mistake of the week, and it's not going to be Perez into the gravel in qualifying. Not going to be Alonso into gravel in qualifying. It's not going to be Russell and Hamilton into each other in qualifying. It's going to be to the person that made the pole position trophy that put the old layout on the trophy that was given to Max Verstappen. So we had a qualifying in the new layout with the old layout. So that was funny as well.
Yeah. Someone didn't get the memo, did they?
Yeah, someone didn't really get the memo and didn't watch any social media from Formula One that were milking that new layout cow for one
A long
entire
time.
wheel. Yeah, a long time, a long ass time. So yeah, it was not the worst Spanish Grand Prix. It was not the best Formula One Grand Prix, but it was much better than I think we would have gotten with the old layout because we actually had some overtaking to be done and some fighting, and not just overtakes into Q1. Yuki, very good overtaking four. Awesome on the outside. So yeah. So thank you guys for watching, listening, all of that stuff. Please follow the podcast at every social media app that you can find at Bomb Draft Bray. You can email us at bdappodcast@gmail.com. Follow Earl at Earl Goddard in Twitter. Don't bother following me because I post nowhere. If you come to our Discord or TWRs Discord, you might find something. You might find me active there, but not very active. Yeah, so follow me. So yeah, so thank you guys again. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all that, and see you in Canada.
See ya.
Bump Draft and Pray is an independent podcast, and the music was by Latin Punks Know.